Hi, welcome to Japan and More. I'm Shawn Weldon. Today I'm going to show you how to use a pair of chopsticks. If you're going to be going to Japan, then it's pretty important to learn how to use chopsticks because they don't really use spoons, forks, knives, and things like that unless you're at a Western style restaurant. But pretty much most of the time, if not all the time, you're going to be using chopsticks. I'm going to try to show you the most practical and comfortable way to use chopsticks. It's how I use chopsticks, and I've been doing it for well over 10 years, almost 20 years now. And it's just practical and comfortable. All right, let's get started. As you can see here, I have a beautiful set of Japanese chopsticks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just choose one of them. It does not matter which one, and I'm going to use it as the base of my chopstick. So I'm going to take the fatter end of the chopstick and I'm going to place it in between my thumb and my index finger, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze it with my thumb in between my finger or my hand and my thumb. And then I'm going to place the chopstick in between the knuckle and my fingertip. Now what I'm doing here is I'm adding a little bit of pressure here with my thumb. So I'm putting some pressure here, pushing the chopstick toward my hand, and then I'm adding a little bit of pressure on this finger toward the chopstick. So I'm kind of counteracting the strength. But I mean, it's not a lot of pressure. It's just enough to hold it there in place. Then I am going to take the second stick and I'm going to place it on top of the other stick, equal length, so that way the tips come together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my thumb as a pivot. So the chopstick is merely going to rock back and forth on my thumb. And you can see here that my finger lays on top of the upper chopstick from about my knuckle, maybe a little bit behind it, all the way to the fingertip. And that basically is what controls all of the motion. So when I want to open the chopsticks, I merely move my index finger up. When I want to close it, I move my index finger down. If the bottom chopstick seems to be rolling over your knuckle here, which can happen if you have a smaller hand, you can use your ring finger and place the chopstick on the ring finger in the same way and use your middle finger to hold the bottom chopstick in place. And then you can do the same thing with the upper chopstick. Now, for me, as you can see, it actually is a little bit more difficult because I have man hands, I have bigger fingers. This usually works well with females or people who have smaller hands. So I prefer this much better because it's just more comfortable for me and I get more leverage out of it. There's two things that you need to remember when you're using chopsticks. The first one is not to try an iron clasp when you're picking up food. So when you pick things up, I'm going to pick up this chopstick holder. When you pick things up, you want to add or apply, I should say, just enough pressure from the top to the bottom to pick it up. That's all you need, is just enough pressure. When you're first learning how to do this, you will drop because you won't be holding as hard, but you'll get the hang of it. What you don't want to do is you don't want to do an iron clasp because the harder I push, the more the chopsticks want to overlap and it just throws your food, as you can see there. The other thing that people who are just learning how to use chopsticks also tend to do is they tend to want to choke up on the chopstick and hold it too close. As you can see, I mean, I can still use it, but I can tell that it's not really as comfortable and it's not as good of a position. So what you're doing here is you're losing a lot of your leverage, and also you're really close to your food, so you actually have a better chance of getting food all over your fingers. So what you really want to do is you really want to hold them as far back as possible. That's comfortable. Of course, you can't go too far or else it's non-usable. but hold it as far back as you can, and that gives you a lot of leverage, and it actually gives you a lot more strength when you're trying to pick things up. Just the main thing is to not squeeze too hard, because then you end up throwing your food everywhere. That's it. That's basically how you use a pair of chopsticks. What I would recommend is going and buying a pair, or going to an Asian store and getting a pair of disposable chopsticks, and just go ahead and practice with those and see if you can get the hang of it. That's it for today. I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you on a Japanese tour with us.